Hey y'all, today we're going to talk about if there really is such a thing as unconditional love, or is it just conditional comfort? It sounds really nice in theory, don't get me wrong, but in real life, it doesn't always play out that way. Imagine a man doing well, he's stable, he's providing, he's showing up, and everything feels great. The love is strong, the support is there, the relationship looks solid. But the moment something shifts, maybe he's struggling mentally, maybe life just hits him for a second, and suddenly the energy changes. Now, I'm not saying this applies to every woman, but it happens enough that we need to talk about it, because if love disappears the second things get hard, was it ever unconditional to begin with? I don't think people are lying on purpose when they promise it. I just think we haven't really questioned what we actually mean by unconditional love. So in this video, I want to break down where this idea comes from, why it keeps playing out in real relationships, and what it actually says about how we view men and their value. So I came across a video that touches on this exact scenario. It's a recent trend where people show a photo from their past when they were happy and what their goals were at that time. And then usually the next slide is something tragic that happened. And then the final slide is a picture of them from now with their new goals and newfound happiness. The post I found starts out, Plan A, marry the love of my life, become the best version of myself for him, have the family I always dreamed of. Then the next slide is proof of her boyfriend downloading Tinder at 1:50 a.m. and their messages following that discovery. It says your Tinder code is whatever. She texts, I feel like I don't even know you. I can't believe you did this to us. His reply, you know me better than anyone. I can't believe I did it either. I stooped so low, lower than I ever have. She replies, I will never be able to depict the hurt and absolute mental distraught you have and are causing me, the person who was supposed to love me and protect me. This is more than heartbreak. This is shattering my whole being. At the beginning of this week, I was going to marry you. I would have stayed through anything you put me through because I was completely devoted to you. And now, in the last 3 days, I'm supposed to rewrite my entire future. I can't breathe. My chest hurts every time I look anywhere because for the last 2.5 years, you have been the center of my universe, and now it's all gone. He replies, I'm weak and pathetic. I had a future planned with you and fucked everything we had. Then the final slide is her showing her new goals and new life. It reads, Plan B, learn to love myself, be the best version of myself for me, start over, build my own family. Now, that's sad and all, but notice how she says she was ready to love him through anything. What exactly does she mean by that? Once she was married, would she have suddenly been able to look past this if it had happened then? Because the last time I checked, this Tinder situation falls under the category of anything. It reiterates to me that people don't take marriage seriously anymore. When you get married, it shouldn't be because you think that person will be perfect and never make a mistake. It should be because you know that even if they hurt you in the most diabolical way, that you would be willing to fight that fight with them, even if you're so pissed and hurt by what they did. Now, of course, this all is in moderation. If you're being abused in any way, you need to protect yourself first and your family if you have one. But sometimes cheating and watching porn is actually a sign of mental struggle and pain, even for women. At the end of the day, sex and porn can be addictions. They release neurotransmitters into your brain and you can become addicted to that release. And of course, I understand someone not wanting to be with an addict. But if you say you unconditionally love someone and would love them through anything, then wouldn't it make you a liar to leave because of an addiction struggle? Wouldn't unconditional love look like supporting and loving them through healing and recovery? I personally would not judge someone for divorcing their partner for these reasons. I'm just making the argument that people should stop acting like that is unconditional love, because it's not. When it comes to putting and loving yourself first, all other love will be conditional. Let's stop the Disney fairy tale narrative because it's just not reality. We as humans are flawed and struggle with temptations. This scenario plays out a lot when rich men who have families and wives start to struggle financially. These men literally murder their entire families and themselves instead of having the tough conversation with their wives that money is low and we need to downsize. Now, I'm sure in some scenarios, it can be summed up to the husband's ego being bruised and him not wanting to face the public backlash. But maybe in some cases, it has to do with a wife that isn't understanding and that would leave at the first sign of financial struggle. This is why you need to be careful about who you marry on both sides. There's so many examples of this. Alec Murdaugh, who was actually granted a retrial recently, but he essentially murdered his wife and son to protect his financial crimes from being exposed. Without money, his wife surely would have left him because she would always turn a blind eye to his infidelities and bad behavior after receiving a lavish gift from him, a new car, a new house. If he was broke, she would have been long gone and back with her parents. Another example, off the top of my head, is Rick Kamal, who was an employee at Harvard and murdered himself, his wife, and his daughter after they were evicted from their insanely expensive home.
Years of deception, a last-minute change in a life insurance policy, and a mysterious note. These are just some of the new details revealed in the double murder of a New England mother and her daughter.
And when it all came crumbling down and the family was about to be evicted, he took matters into his own hands.
The town of Dover, Massachusetts is one of the most prestigious and expensive in the country.
I'm not saying any of this to diminish the victims or blame them, because of course they did not deserve to be murdered. It's just a pattern I've noticed that no one ever really talks about, but we should talk about it because it's a massive part of bringing awareness to men's mental health, and it could potentially save lives in the future. These same lives we talked about could have been saved maybe if people were more open to hearing about men's struggles. The realization that men also struggle with the unrealistic standards we unknowingly put on ourselves, our partners, and that society also puts on us. The point I want this video to make is that unconditional love means you will love someone no matter what they do. So let's stop saying we will love someone through anything when we actually know deep down that we have boundaries and we actually won't just put up with anything. I also want women to understand that men struggle every day too, and if you really care for someone, you would be able to accept them for all of their mistakes and missteps. A commenter says, in quotations, "I would have stayed through everything you put me through," quotation. Someone that loves you won't put you through anything, babe. They help you through the ups and downs. They don't create them. Which I don't agree with, because when you promise to love someone, you don't promise to be perfect and not make mistakes. You promise to be by their side no matter what happens. So be careful what you wish for when it comes to marriage, because it's not as shiny as a white dress and nice dinner. It can be the real pits of hell. And if you don't want to get divorced, make sure you pick the right partner for reasons more than just love. Pick someone that has good finances, good family, good personality, someone who offers you more than just love, because at the end of the day, love is superficial. Let me know what you think about all of this. Do you agree that sometimes cheating can be a sign of depression and insecurity? Or are you immediately done with someone who betrays you like that? Let me know in the comments. It was great talking to you all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!